Well, we've walked on them, we've driven on them, we fish off of them sometimes. These things are useful features. We're looking at a dam right here on the middle Oconee River, and this dam is no longer. And I want to talk about why it is no longer, and there's an individual that led the effort to get it to the point where it is now, and that's Dr. Jay Shelton. Dr. Shelton, it's so good to see you again.
Good to see you.
This guy has been on the segment a number of times with us, an expert in fisheries biologist, of course. Dr. Shelton, we're looking at a dam that is now opened up. Why was it such a problem before this had been opened? What's the big deal about a dam like this right here in Oconee County?
Well, of course, dams provide a tremendous number of valuable services to us, and we depend on them for flood control and hydropower generation and a lot of other things. But in Georgia and many other states, there are thousands of derelict dams, dams that have not been utilized for many decades, like this one. And they haven't been used for any benefit. They are a potential safety risk. They cause problems for recreational use of the river, and we have concerns about the ecology of the river as a result of them being here.
So they're stopping fish from moving, they're stopping if I'm in my kayak, I'm not getting through something right there, so it's a problem.
Problem, and then also the safety part of this. It can be a danger.
People may be swimming in the water and having some issues
especially
there with
after flooding, when very dangerous hydraulics are generated by these low head structures.
Interesting. So something like this that is now opened up, you were the guy, you were the go-to guy that got this going literally a number of years ago. A year ago this was opened. Dr. Shelton, I want to talk next about how we got to this point, because it takes an expert like Dr. Shelton and a team of stakeholders to make this happen. Wasn't an easy feat, and I want to talk about that with you next, in case you at home are wondering, if I've got a dam near me, how can I do something about it, particularly if it's a derelict, unused dam? So let's go there next. Well, look at how beautiful this looks. It's a perfect gap where this dam used to be. And Dr. Shelton, we're standing on a sandbar just downstream of that. How did it get to look like that? I mean, talk to us about how it looks that way. We know the benefits. How?
Well, it was a lengthy process. And obviously there was a lot of permitting and a lot of planning involved. But the actual removal of the dam is one piece at a time. It was done by a highly specialized, really valuable part of the team, a group of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service employees that are responsible for doing aquatic connectivity projects all over the place.
And they come in with, not with hammers and nails, but we're talking about equipment, big pieces of equipment that they're able to put into the water to do this?
That's correct. There were actually 3 giant excavators, 3 big yellow machines in the river all at one time during the 1 week that it took to modify this dam.
And the process of doing this, getting them here, this is not something that just somebody at home can, well, I'm going to go ahead and do this, put the tractor in the water and do this. Talk to us about some of those stakeholders. You mentioned U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Who else was involved? How did you do this? This is a waterway. This is protected.
Yeah, the authority for doing things like this in rivers comes from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So they issue a permit. It's called a 404 permit. It's a nationwide process. And that permit procedure took us about 2 years, and it involved input and guidance from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, from Environmental Protection Agency, from Georgia DNR, Environmental Protection Division, and many other stakeholders who had to review and authorize us to actually do this work.
So this is several years, you're an expert brought in, we're standing on a sandbar that is the result of this. Talk to me about that. I mean, that's interesting. Benefits of this opening up. How did we get to stand where we are now?
Yeah. So ecologically, we talk about aquatic connectivity, then it's good for fish, it's good for other aquatic organisms, because this is, dams have the potential, especially derelict dams that aren't being utilized, to be an impediment to movement, a form, if you will, of habitat fragmentation. So that's what we did, was we eliminated that fragment. We reconnected 2 pieces of the river that had been separated in many ways for over 100 years.
Gosh, incredible. Now what I want to do is I want to talk about, if you're at home, you know about a dam that is not in use and you're wondering, how can I get to the point where I'm benefiting wildlife aquatically and terrestrially? Let's talk about the process that you can follow to get a dam like that removed in your area. So let's check it out. So Jay, before we get into all of the ways that someone at home could potentially impact a dam like this and get it removed, one that's not useful, what are some ways that you know that the work that you contributed to is benefiting the environment? How are you all monitoring this?
Well, as part of our permitting process, we are required to collect environmental data, biological data prior to the dam removal, during the construction phase, and for the next 3 years. So we're actually monitoring fish above and below the dam, aquatic organisms above and below the dam, water quality, and the habitat changes above and below the dam for the next 3 years.
Interesting. You and a team of folks?
Yeah, this is really an amazing group of stakeholders that include Environmental Protection Agency, Fish and Wildlife Service, and state agencies like the Department of Natural Resources.
Excellent.
And we'll be accumulating data for the next 3 years on the effect of this project.
And to be able to talk about monitoring on the Farm Monitor, it doesn't get any better than that. So Jay, if I'm at home and I'm wondering how can I open up an unused dam like this, what are some of the steps that you went through to get that going on?
Well, you know, it is an extensive process. It requires a lot of experts in various disciplines. But the reason that we were able to pull all this together was that we created something called the Georgia Aquatic Connectivity Team, the ACT. And the Aquatic Connectivity Team now brings together expertise in all the different aspects of aquatic connectivity, and that's available to assist with other projects in the future. We were hoping that this project would serve as a model for future projects.
That's what's incredible. Georgia is leading the way. The Warnell School of Forestry and Natural Resources, Dr. Shelton, leading the way in the Southeast and the nation, and it started with the leadership of this guy. Dr. Shelton, thank you so much. Got to give you credit. That is great. It's such a pleasure to have you on again. When you're online checking out some of those resources, hop over to the Farm Monitor Facebook page, and while you're there, hop over to the Ranger Nick Facebook page and see the kind of stuff I've got going on, all the craziness. And until next time, for the Farm Monitor, as I always say, Dr. Shelton, as you know, enthusiasm is contagious, so pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you when we get back together again next month. See ya.